Hi everyone. We're going to take a minute and refresh our brains about what we covered in the last unit. So remember the last unit we started talking about heredity and how traits are passed on from the parents to the offspring. And so we'll start out by looking at what a chromosome is, what is DNA, and some of our vocabulary words. So first vocabulary word we're going to review is homozygous. Homozygous means the same. And so then we come to the vocabulary word allele. An allele is simply an alternate form of a gene. We use big letters and little letters to help us talk about, model, visualize what's going on, but it doesn't matter what we use just as long as we agree upon it. We could use a 1 and a 2, or an 8 and a 7, or oranges and apples. It doesn't matter as long as we agree upon what's representing what. And so on a chromosome, you can see 2 chromosomes down here. And there's 2 genes that we're looking at. We're looking at the purple gene at the top and the gene that's at the bottom. And so here we have the same form of the gene for that characteristic. And so both of them have a purple band, so that makes them homozygous. Remember that a gene is a specific location on a chromosome that codes for a given trait. So we are looking at 2 genes here. We're looking at going down our DNA strand. In this area is where this gene is. And then if we come up here, this is the second gene that we're looking at. So a gene is a specific location on a chromosome. So we're looking at this area is one gene, and this area is the other gene. So if we look over here on this side here we have our chromosomes. You get 1 chromosome from your mother and 1 chromosome from your father. Humans have 23 total pairs of chromosomes, giving us 46 total in all our cells. So we have 1 through 22, which are called the autosomes, or the body chromosomes, or the self chromosomes. And then we have pair number 23, which is considered the sex chromosomes, being that girls get 2 full X chromosomes and males get 1 full X chromosome and a partial of the Y chromosome. And that's for humans. Humans have 23 pairs. And so here we're looking at some pairs. This person is homozygous, and they're homozygous dominant. This person is recessive, homozygous recessive. Heterozygous means having 1 of each type of allele. In this scenario, we have the big F and the little f representing the alternate forms of a gene. We usually represent incomplete dominance using big letters and little letters. We're going to learn going forward now about different types of inheritance that are going to be a little different. We're going to have to tweak this system just a little bit. But with complete dominance, meaning 1 allele, if it's present, is the phenotype that is shown, and the other allele, considered the recessive, which is only shown if there's no dominant allele. So some examples of human traits, because humans are always fun to look at. We have free earlobes versus attached earlobes. So my earlobes are free. I don't know if you can see, but I have a little dangle here that I can put an earring on quite easily. Some people don't have that. Their earlobe is attached to the side of their face. And so free earlobes is dominant to attached earlobes. So we know if we were using E's to represent the person in these pictures, we know that the person on the left's genotype is going to be little e, little e. The only thing we know about the person on the right is that they have at least one big E in their genotype. So we don't have enough information to say anything more, except for they are either big E, or big E, little e. And we don't know which one. We can't look at them and tell that. Dark hair versus red hair. Usually use R's to represent this one. Straight hair versus curly hair. Now this one has kind of some in-betweens to it. So you can use it for complete dominance, but we can also use it for incomplete dominance. And we'll get to that soon. But it is on chromosome number 1. And you can see these dark and light stripes on these chromosomes. And those are where genes are located. We have mapped the entire human genome. So you can see chromosome 1 through 23. When I first graduated from college, we had the Human Genome Project, which was launched, which was a project to map the entire code of the human genetics. And so we know where all the genes are, supposedly, for us. And so here we're looking at this spot right here. And down here you can look at this. It's 150 million base pairs, which means 150 million A, A, T, G, G, C, C, C. That's a lot. Dimples. I don't know if I have dimples or not. My mom sure did have dimples. And this dude here from Save from the Bell, he has dimples. So dimples versus no dimples. No dimples being the recessive. Widow's peak versus no widow's peak. So here are some people that have some distinct widow peak hairlines, which means they have this V on the top of their head. And here's an example of a person who has probably a tiny, tiny, tiny widow's peak, but this would be considered a straight hairline versus a widow's peak hairline. Sorry. Take a moment and look in the mirror and see which one you have. And then go see your parents, see if they have widow peaks or not. Cleft chin versus no cleft chin. Cleft chin is dominant. It looks like I overcovered Adele's cleft chin. Here's some pretty famous actors. Here's a baby, so cute. These two guys probably are before your time, but they're quite famous. Tall versus short. This is Penn and Teller. If you don't know them, they're famous musicians that have traveled all over the world and have had TV specials and things. Freckles. I have freckles, but they only usually show up if I go out into the sun. So lucky for me, I haven't gone out into the sun in a while. But freckles are dominant. Hitchhiker's thumb. So I don't have a very good hitchhiker's thumb. I would say I do not have a hitchhiker's thumb. So I have the dominant trait of having a normal thumb versus someone who has a hitchhiker's thumb. They have this little curve or bend into their thumb. Normal digits versus polydactylism. We talked about this a little bit in our last unit. And those are people that have extra digits. Brachydactylism. Brachy means short. Dactyl means digits. And so having short, all of your fingers short or toes short, or you have just one abnormally short digit. Syndactylism. Syn means with or together. And so these are digits that are webbed or joined together. So usually when babies are little and they are born with this, they usually go ahead and do the operation to separate that. But some people choose not to have that operation. And we learned about the Punnett square. I'm going to go really fast through this because we did a lot of them. And it's to help us determine the probability of what the genotypes and the phenotypes of the possible offspring will be. And we compare that to a ratio. And so I can say 75% possibility that my offspring will be blah, diddy, blah, diddy, blah. And so these Punnett scores help us with that. So this is, we already went all over that. You guys should remember how to do a Punnett square. And then in your aspire to, from the Amoeba Sisters. So that's the end of this one.